SCP-036, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. Once every year, a mobile task force is dispatched from the Containment Command 02 and expunged to date to Site 22A to defend the runaway and airport located there. The civilian facility is to be cleared of all non-SCP personnel by 400 hours 4 a.m. September 23, and none are allowed to return until sunrise the next day on October 1st. All civilians must be evacuated again before sunrise and will not be allowed onto Site 22A until the return of the pilgrimage flight. Pilgrims in transport from the arrival flight waiting departure on the pilgrim flight may only be allowed examined by researchers with level 3 security level clearance or higher. Description: SCP-036 includes the location Site 22A, a small airport in Mosul region of northern Iraq, and Site 22B, the destination of passengers boarding at Site 22A. The key components of SCP-036 are the arrival flight, a passenger plane that varies to make and model from year to year, that arrives shortly before dawn of September 23rd and it appears on radar about 30 to 40 kilometers away from Site 22A when it lands. Pilgrims exit the plane and enter the terminal. No crew have ever left the plane. Observations have only revealed masked pilot and co-pilot. The plane leaves quickly after pilgrims exit and does not wait for clearance for takeoff, nor does it identify itself upon approach for landing. The pilgrims, people of the Yazidi faith that exit the arrival plane, who are said to be undergoing the Guhorîn. Each year they are examined and identified as various people of the Yazidi faith and have died during the previous year. This is done through birth certificates, photo IDs, specific knowledge questions, and when possible fingerprints. Most have been known to be friendly and amicable, though most are reluctant to give details about the Guhorîns. In the past, all have shown to be unable to recognize families and friends, or even able to remember any information beyond short-term memory would normally allow. In the late afternoon of September 23rd, most pilgrims begin to emphasize how important it is that their pilgrimage must be done. This time they fly into the pilgrimage flight plane and depart, never to be seen again. Pilgrimage flight, passenger plane provided by SCP personnel for the transportation of the pilgrims. It is manned by a crew of trained Yazidi holy men. The crew are typically never able to elaborate upon details of the pilgrimage, or what the Guhorîn actually is. SCP equipment on board function optimally, but record data will only be significantly increased our understanding of the pilgrimage each year. Though the flight is gone for several days, the crew and recorded data are only able to account for a few hours. Days are missing from time recording equipment and cameras, and nothing abnormal is ever observed. The plane disappears from radar and visual contact is lost about 50 to 60 kilometers away from Site 22A until it returns after sunrise on October 1st. Site 22B. Destination of the pilgrimage plane is a small airport consisting of a runway and single building located at coordinates expunged. It has only been observed by pilgrimage crew and cameras in the plane. It does not appear on satellite images, and attempts to reach on the foot have failed, once with disastrous effects. Cameras have trouble focusing on the area as the heat from the ground usually causes a mirage-like visual effect on all subjects more than a few dozen meters away from the plane. Fly over with SCP reconnaissance plane several weeks before the pilgrimage revealed the undeveloped land in what it looked like an ancient stone statue. In 1990s, SCP Mobile Task Force Sigma-4 attempted to reach Site 22B during the time of the pilgrimage. Upon the approach, communication was lost and Task Force was never heard from again. No other exploration attempts are advised during the 7-day pilgrimage. Originally, the Kurdish-speaking Yazidi people around Mosul secretly performed the pilgrimage themselves. Pilgrims of the East were escorted by masked armed guards and the camelback into the care of the Yazidi holy men. It's been explained that the holy men would take the pilgrims west to their land of the dead, while the pilgrims would wait to be reborn back in the Yazidi men. The Guhorîn, literally Kurdish for changing garments, is used to describe the belief of reincarnation that lesser souls the Yazidi undergo, whilst actual pilgrimage was done in secret. A symbolic pilgrimage and Guhorîn are performed every year at the same time by other Yazidi. During 1960s, land acquired acquisition by Kurds and Muslims, attacks by Turks, and punitive laws by the Islamic Iraqi government restricted the movements of the customs of the Yazidi during the time the Foundation stepped in and offered aid in the way of an advantageous clause that granted SCP planes unrestricted access to airport facilities in the area. Almost immediately, mysterious planes carrying pilgrims from the east began landing at the local airport, and an elusive airport of the destination appeared as well.